Hello, how's it going? So, back to another video, number four, and this one's going to be a really good one because a lot of men, right, we have all these competing priorities, and we simply say, "Hey, I'm going to try to balance them out." And it's only until I balance them out that I can actually do everything at once every single week. But then we get stuck in this loop of trying to be disciplined, failing, feeling guilty, spiraling, feeling like you're worthless, feeling like you're not enough. And believe me, I know what that feeling is like, that last one, and it's so infuriating because no matter how hard you push and try to balance, it just never works out. So this video is just for you, especially if you're a newlywed man who values family and who has faith. So here is but first of all, let me show you my screen here. 1 second, I'm pulling up Canva because I am a person who leads by example. So this is me. Let's see, how do I... Okay, I think, yeah, okay. So this is me, and this is my client. Okay, he gained 18 pounds in 4 months. So for a while when I was a newlywed, I thought that you have to be a certain way, especially white knuckle. I thought you have to do that. I thought I was suffering from an issue of not balancing my priorities straight. I thought I wasn't managing my time right, or that I wasn't using my planner right. And so, by the way, this is now, and back then, wait, where is it? Okay, this is me now, but back then I didn't look like that. I worked a corporate job and I was so drained out, and I didn't really have any mental space for my wife. Now, the method I'm going to show you didn't solve that problem. Okay, I actually quit my job to solve that problem. But the method I'm going to show you is going to work really well if you're a man who tolerates his job already. So I just want to make that clear. And if you're in that boat, which a lot of people are, this method I'm going to share today is going to be really beneficial for you. And so before we get started, I'm going to show you what most men do right here. And most men, we think that we have to have equal energy from body to work, faith and family, right? Everything is equal. Everything is equal in time and attention and energy. And this is where the sort of system fails. Because when we think that a certain solution comes from a certain action, we're going to set ourselves up for failure. Because the true belief here isn't that everything requires the same amount of energy. The winning belief here is that everything requires a unbalanced amount of energy, time, and attention. And so once we actually believe in this belief, we're going to set ourselves up for success and actually build a system that doesn't collapse when everything, gets crazy in our life, whether you have more deadlines, like one of my clients, man, this CFO, a chief financial officer for a Christian university, he was just bombarded with projects every single week. Every time we would do a check-in, there seemed to be something new and something going on with his job. And it just got to the point where it was crazy, the amount of work he was doing, simply because, well, at the end of the day, we figured out it was people-pleasing behaviors on his end. But, from the other side of it, his boss and coworkers just try to get him to do a lot of stuff. But that's the side story. In the end, he became the man who didn't people please as much, which is the real win, by the way. But I'll make a separate video on that. So this is what most men try to do, and they fail. They become frustrated, they end up feeling guilty, and it just doesn't work out. So this is what I do in my work at The Grounded Man. First off, this old way right here, it goes to show that everything, when we try to balance our energy to everything, it's going to break. Either we drop something, either we stop working out, which tends to be the case for a lot of men. And then over years and months, it shows. Their body shows they have less desire. Their wife doesn't like their body as much. Their sex life goes down. Or maybe it's to their faith, right? Maybe your faith is still real, but you don't feel God as much. You don't put in as much time in the morning because you are suffering from low energy. Or maybe it's your family, right? You have a patient wife, which is great and it's a blessing, but at the same time, it's growing apart from you, the relationship, and you can feel that she's being distant. And it's not really her fault. She's not a victim, and you're not either, because no one really taught you this. What I'm going to show you in this video is going to help you so much, because unlike a lot of fitness programs, 90% of coaches will just give you a fitness plan, but they don't actually sit down with you and align and actually look at all aspects of your life and say, hey, this one needs to be this way, your faith needs to be more, work needs to be this way. So that's what I'm doing here with you. And the key belief here you need to understand, because everything comes from belief, is equal weight within each aspect of life, body, faith, family, and work, is impossible to sustain. If you try to do that, you're going to burn yourself out really quick, and you're going to go back into that vicious cycle and then restart. And oftentimes that restart feels more like a defeat than actually burning out. So into the new way, which is something very, very beautiful. As you can see, each aspect of life has a different level of intensity and attention. And how you determine this is the season you're in. Some season you're going to give more to your faith. Actually, scratch that. I want you to focus on faith as the first priority. Okay, first priority. Unless God tells you to focus more on work, unless He gives you, something evident that you need to focus on. Otherwise, focus on your faith and put that as a top priority. But between family, body, and work, it's going to vary. And so how you determine that is by how your life is at the moment. And so for me, currently I work 12, sometimes 14-hour shifts like yesterday. Not every shift, but it's very hard and it takes a lot of time. And when I work those shifts, I don't really do anything else but spend time with God, go to work. I clock out, go back to my home, and maybe have some quiet time, but that's it. But despite working those long shifts, my wife feels loved. I spend time with her. She feels seen and heard. I work out and I look jacked. Remember, this is me right here. And, a lot of people will say, you can't be in shape. Here, where am I? Am I still recording? I hope so. Most people will say you can't be in this type of shape if you have a lot of priorities, and a lot of men just settle for less. And, I'm here to say you don't have to settle for less, because you can actually get everything if you adopt this mindset that each aspect of life will require different energy and time and attention. And so what's different about this is when the pressure hits, you're going to protect everything in order. And you're going to set the order beforehand, so that way when you're in the thick of the stress and the anxiety and the stress and the pressure, you just know exactly what to do instead of reacting emotionally, which a lot of men do. And so in the moment, right, my client Sean here, he was the other guy in the picture. He was making some good progress, and then we found out that when life got busy, he started to randomly dropping things, just whatever feels right in the moment. And so what we did was we actually set systems in place to where he doesn't have to randomly decide. So he just knows what to do when XYZ happens. It's just automated. That's the system. That's part of it, which is great because you don't, reacting emotionally and randomly, that just puts you in a position where progress is inconsistent. So you need to have something in place beforehand so you can fall back to when everything seems chaotic and hectic. And it doesn't take a long time. So that's another bonus. So if you don't change, it's going to be very hard to get the life you want and to be the man you want to be. Excuse me, I needed some coffee. If you don't adopt this mindset that, oh yeah, by the way, an example here that will help ingrain this in your mind is thinking about a GPA. Okay, if you went to college, remember how your professors graded you. There were tests, there were homework, there were quizzes, there were final exams, and each item was weighted differently. And depending on which one, you probably focus more of your time and attention into it. So when the final exam came, you knew, okay, I'm going to study really hard 2 weeks in advance. Really hard. I'm going to spend a lot of time in those 2 weeks trying to get an A plus, an A plus 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 plus, get extra credit 110%, right? Because you knew it was more valuable than maybe the pop quiz that was only, I don't know, a fraction of your total grade. So that's the kind of mindset we're really adopting here and transferring over to fitness, but in reality, everything in life. And so what most men do is they think that everything in life is a final exam, when in reality, some things are just pop quizzes. Some things are homeworks that don't even deserve your attention. Okay, so that is a good example, and hopefully it sticks to you. Now, the cost of staying the same is actually, like, you don't want to stay the same, let's just say that. Because if you approach all your aspects of life and try to be balanced, you're going to notice that you're going to drop the gym when work gets heavy. Your marriage, it's going to suffer slowly but gradually. It's not going to be dramatic, but over time, you're going to notice there's a lack of spark. Your wife is there, but she's distant. You don't feel connected with her. It's a very sticky situation to be in. And I felt that too. And, when I was in my corporate job, I had the best supporter, and I still do. And she was doing her best, and I was doing my best. But no one told me about this. And so I felt distant with her because literally, we were just focused on doing things on our to-do list. We would wake up at 5, read a quick little 10, 15-minute Bible study or devotional, go to the gym, come back. And we were always rushing from one thing to the next. And then I had work at 8. I called my friend who was dealing with a very sticky situation. And so that was a lot on my plate too. Like, I'm not saying like, like, I don't want to, it's not like screw him or anything. It's just, I had a lot to do. And then I would work until 5, I would clock out. And I got to the point where I was so tired physically and mentally that I slept hard on the couch one evening. And my wife tried to wake me up and she couldn't. She thought I died in my sleep, and that was the first year of marriage. So imagine how toxic the balanced approach to life is. Instead, you want to be different and move with the flow and move according to your priorities within the season you're in. So yeah, if you don't change, you're going to feel in your faith too. Your goals are always going to stay on the list. You're always going to make New Year's resolutions and don't achieve them because, well, you're doing the same approach. And I love this quote. I forgot who said it, but if you're in personal development, it's very, very popular. It says something like, you can't expect different results if you try the same method. So in other words, you need to change your approach to something if you want results. It's something like, oh yeah, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It's great that you have that sort of strength and endurance, but there comes a time, like in the Bible, there's a time for everything. There is a time to pivot and adapt and shift to get your results. Please don't get stuck in a cycle of not changing. So here's what I would do if I am stuck in that situation again. First, you want to get a piece of paper, write down your 4 pillars, your body, faith, family, and work. And then you pick what is the time consuming thing, and what thing are you neglecting most. And for the other 2 things, you can write a scale, for example, of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most consuming and 10 being 10 being the most consuming, and then also 10 for the most neglected. So you should have a spectrum of body, faith, family, and work, and which one takes more time, which one takes least time. So after that, you're going to do number 2. Be honest with yourself is only going to work if you are honest. It's important to get the right data. It's important to get accurate data. Otherwise, we're just going to try to fix problems that don't exist. And so right now, tell yourself which one is actually being neglected and which one is consuming. So just name it. That's it. Number 3, decide the order for the season you're in. Now, this is going to take some reflecting. Spend as much time as you need. It may come immediately. If so, that's cool. And let's see. Yeah, and then rate what, and for the Christian men out there, put faith on the top as your top priority. And from there, move down the list. Okay, what's the next important, etc., etc. That way, when everything is busy, you're going to know which one to give your time and attention to. So for this one, right, I keep going back between how to know when a season is over. So what I would do, since we're not God and we don't know when things change and when seasons are over and when new seasons start, I would set a reminder either on my phone or on my desk, anywhere really, on a calendar and on a physical calendar if that's what you're used to. Set a monthly reminder and just tell yourself like, hey, is this season over? And don't make that to where it's a reminder to actually try to make it over and try to begin a new season. Just set that as a way of reflecting and being self-aware enough to know, hey, is this season over? So do that within the perspective of asking God for guidance too. So that's a big thing there too. And within each not each system, each season, build a system for that. So what most people, and I might make another video on this or a video on this, but what most people do is we tend to go balls to the wall and have this sort of all or nothing mindset, and we want to hit the ground running and at a high level of intensity. But what makes this method work is not the fact that we're essentially pushing hard in every aspect. There comes a time when to do that within my work, but at the level of this framework, right, what you want to do is retrain your mind to ease out of that white knuckle energy. We want you to be in more of a flow state, so that way you can actually have peace and joy within your life instead of trying to just hop on from one task to another, from work to family to working out. And that type of energy just fuels that burnout cycle, and it's not where you want to be. So if you're very sick and tired of that cycle, like, this is for you. So get used to literally like doing the least amount as possible. I call it the minimum effective dose. And back in my bioengineering days, that term is used in medical practices. So that basically just means that what amount do I need to do? What are the least amount of things to do, and what is the least amount of effort and attention you need to put into your body, faith, family, and work to have a flourishing body, faith, family, and work. So once you set that up, you're going to be in a really good position. Really good position. Now, this is going to be really hard to practice because you're used to just, trying to grab life by its throat and making it happen and attacking the day. So I tell you that, but, just remind yourself what you're doing. And also, this is more of a identity level type of work. So already, right, you have this belief that results are attained when you work very, very hard and when you suffer. So what we're doing here is actually challenging that belief, and we're adopting another belief and another mindset that actually serves you in this season of life, because the white knuckle mindset hasn't served you. And that's why you're watching this video. So this is where the real work is. And if you want to know more about how identity changes the man, and how fitness programs don't, and how focusing on the reps and sets don't, look at my channel. There's a video, something called like why discipline isn't the approach, but it's actually the exhaust. Look at that video. It's going to serve you very well. And I have a couple more videos that will help you too. So yeah, that's pretty much it. When life gets busy, you use and refer the framework. Don't just throw it away. Don't make random decisions. Go back to that framework and make a logical, data-driven decision. Because at the end of the day, this is literally to help you make good decisions. And at the same time, we're actually forming your identity to be something, to be more of what you want, to actually take care of everything in life, so that you can actually be the husband you want, be the father if you have kids that you want, perform well at work, all of the good stuff. So I have something special for you. I have what I call the 4 pillars alignment worksheet. Now, actually, there is a 4 pillars framework in my coaching, and I haven't made this worksheet yet, but if you comment below alignment in this video, I'm going to reach out to you with a worksheet that I would have already made. So what it is a simple tool that shows exactly how your body, faith, family, and work are competing right now, why they're clashing, and what you can do about it so you don't have to, grit your teeth, try to lose fat, build muscle, try to make everything work, so you can actually be fit, so you can actually, have time for your marriage, have time for God, all of that good stuff. So let me know if you want it. I'll see you in the next video.